Record. Welcome, Renato. It's a pleasure to have you here with us today. As a well-respected figure in the translation and localization industry, your insights are incredibly valuable, especially given the rapid changes we have been witnessing. Today, I am looking forward to diving to some key topics that are shaping the future of our field. And if you are ready, I want to start with my questions.
I'm more than happy. Thank you so much, Utsun, for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be talking to your audience.
It's my pleasure. First, I would like to start with a big picture question about technology. Over the past few years, we have seen significant advancement across industries. In your experience, how has technology evolved within the translation industry? What do you think are the most significant advancements that have impacted translation and localization processes?
Very good. So, localization is translation has been around for millennia, but localization is a concept that started maybe 30, 40, less than 40 years ago. And what we have seen is a series of advancements in technology in the language space. And it has accelerated a lot in the last uh, 8, 10 years at the most. So technology follows, translation is a transformation activity. We don't create anything, we work on the work of other people.
Mhm.
And because of that, we are constantly consuming the technologies that are related to content creation and content to publishing and development of language, right? Language doesn't happen in a vacuum. It's always written or spoken. So the advancements that we have seen is they're essentially finding ways to improve the efficiency of um, generating output in a foreign language. So the first technology that we had were terminology databases that started to replace dictionaries. Then we moved into translation memories. From translation memories, we went into translation management systems that helped you manage and work manage the work of different people working with the same translation memory. Then you went into a period where we started using machine translation because it became affordable. And we started first with statistical-based machine translation. Then we moved to neural machine translation on the web, in the cloud. The conversation in the early 2000s was all about the cloud. And Google Translate came out with this in 2016 with neural machine translation.
Mhm.
And now we're entering a phase of implementing AI into the language space. However, one of the things that people don't realize very frequently is that neural machine translation was the first form of AI. In
Mhm.
fact, the engine behind neural machine translation is the transformer model, which was created by Google.
Mhm.
And if we talk about ChatGPT, for example, GPT means generative pre-trained transformer. This transformer is the same transformer that allowed machine translation. But we're still in the early stages of this new technology. But people in the language industry have already been exposed to it quite a lot.
Mhm, mhm. I see. I want to ask another question about AI and machine translation engines that you mentioned.
Yes.
What role do AI and machine translation engines currently play in translation technology? How are these technologies shaping the future of industry? What is the starting point for this impact?
So AI and language is still at its infancy, right? Uh, Today, as we speak in 2024, machine translation is, as I said, a form of AI, but it is more reliable and performs better, faster, sometimes even cheaper than AI does. Another limitation that AI has is that AI performs differently depending on the types of languages that you're using. So while machine translation, once you have an engine for a certain language, it will perform relatively well. AI, as soon as you get down from the top 12 languages, you start having a significant deterioration of the performance. And one of the things that we used to talk about when machine translation, neuro machine translation came around was that it would create very fluent translations, but not necessarily very accurate. And this is something that we see again with AI-based translations. They look perfect, but they might contain hallucinations. They might contain errors that you don't notice unless you're comparing with the original. So there is a certain danger at the stage that we are today to use AI universally. You still need the human element to be checking whether the performance is correct or not, especially depending on the type of content. Naturally, if you're translating a Facebook post, accuracy is not the most important thing. But if you're translating medical instructions or legal briefing, you might want the accuracy around the content that you wouldn't have with AI.
Content, publishing in media, the risk level of the content, it's all actually depending the translation tier, the quality.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Right. I would like to explore another major trend. Generative AI and large language models have been a hot topic lately with their impacts stretching across many fields. How do you see these technologies transforming the translation and localization landscape? And in your opinion, what potential do they hold for future developments in our industry, especially for generative AI and LLM side?
Okay. This is again, there is a very interesting book that I read called Co-Intelligence, and the author Ethan Mollick mentions that the AI that you're using today is the worst AI that you're ever going to use. So we're in the very early stages. AI is going to improve and change a lot, right? And it's still very expensive to create LLMs. It's still very labor and time intensive to create something. And the truth is that even the best scientists don't really know how these things work. There's a lot of speculation. It's a little bit, it's fascinating to hear Sam Altman and other AI luminaries saying that we don't really know. We have an idea of how it works, but we don't really know how it works. But it works, right? That's the idea. So I think that when we look at this from the language industry perspective, you have to be, there's going to be two types of people. There are the people that use AI, and there are the people that work for AI. So if you're not using it, if you're not playing with it, if you're not incorporating its capabilities in your activities, in your workflow, if you're not using it inside the tools that you use, you're missing an opportunity, and you're probably going to be a person working for the AI instead of working with AI. So the impact is more an opportunity than a risk, I believe. We're very early on. We see a pattern in the language industry with new technologies. There's always a period of resistance and fear, and most people don't want even to touch it. But the moment they start using it without even knowing, right? We are using artificial intelligence every day. If you use your cell phone and you look for a picture by describing saying, show me pictures of a dog, and it's going to say, show pictures of your dog or dogs that you have taken pictures of. That's artificial intelligence. It's artificial visual intelligence at play. You never trained your phone to identify pictures of dogs or of buses and things like that, but it does. So you have it at your hands. You've had it for a while, different forms of it. You're just not using it. Start using it and embracing it and understanding it if you want to survive in this new jungle.
It's also raises the question about how companies choose the right tools, right, Renato? So, what criteria should companies consider when evaluating new translation and localization tools? How can they ensure these tools efficiently meet their needs and improve their processes?
Okay, so the role of technology, the role of tools in any business and situation is to optimize and automate repetitive tasks that you do. It's to facilitate the process, the workflow that you need to go through to generate a desired output. So translation is a very complex activity. It involves multiple areas of knowledge, multiple skills from different people, multiple platforms, right? You're publishing today on, you're publishing text in digital domain, you're printing, you're producing video, you're producing audio, you have the same informational in multiple deliverables and formats. So you need a platform, you need a tool to manage this complexity. And the best one is the one that you know, is the one that is adaptable to your requirements, the one that is modern, right? There is a lot of legacy technology that is bringing a lot of baggage with it, that is solving old problems. So I think that in a time of change and uncertainty where we are now, it's a good time to look for creative, new alternative, new products and things that can streamline your current processes.
You're right. Yeah, you're right. Thanks a lot for all these answers. Now let's talk a bit about the broader landscape and some of the hurdles in the industry faces. As we wrap up, I would love to hear your thoughts on some of the biggest challenges in the translation industry is facing today. And on the flip side, where do you see the greatest opportunity for growth and innovation in the sector?
Okay, so translation is, like I mentioned before, it affects every area of human activity, every business, every religion, every activity that we have requires communication is an opportunity for translation. So people are not going to stop communicating. And as long as there is a need for communication, there's going to be a need for translation. A very common question that I get is when I think that machine translation is going to replace humans. Well, I like to say that it happened in 2016 when Google Neuro Machine Translation came out. There was a statistics that was presented that Google translates in one day more than all human translators in all languages translate in 1 year. So translation is being done by machines anyway, all the time. But there are some areas where machines cannot do it all. And what we need is the human expert that understands certain areas of expertise. You don't want a doctor to be translating your accounting reports the same way that you don't want an engineer to be translating medical content, right? So there are areas, niches of specialization, and this is very good that they exist, and it's always an opportunity. But the same way that 40 years ago, when I started in the industry, I had a collection of dictionaries, and the dictionary was my most important tool. Today, the tools are different. The tools are digital. You're working in computers, cell phones, iPads, tablets, and different input formats. Voice, right? Dictating instead of writing.
Yes.
So the demand for language is going to grow. The offer of machine translation and AI is going to grow. But the same will happen for the demand for humans to be involved in this process, either to control quality or either to manage that process, to tell the machine what the machine needs to do to deliver the output that is necessary. So I have a very bright vision for the industry as a whole. I believe that this industry is a growth industry. It's an industry that hasn't, at least in the 40 years that I've been in this industry, there has never been a crisis where people are out of work and companies are going bankrupt. This doesn't happen in the language industry, but you do see price pressure. You do see a delay between the ones that are running upfront with embracing a lot of technology and those that take their time to get there. But over time, things adjust. People get used to the new technology. And one of my colleagues named this the Beninatto effect, my last name, when I described that we're so worried about the new technologies that are going to take away our jobs that we forget immediately about the technology that we were afraid until last week. So until 2 years ago, the biggest fear was how neuro-machine translation was going to kill the language industry. Today, the fear is that AI is going to do that. Nobody cares about machine translation anymore. That's not a threat. There's a new threat, and we're worried about it. So I believe that generative AI, neuro-machine translations, and all these technologies are going to be incorporated into our reality. And in a couple of years, we'll be afraid of something else that is going to eliminate our business from the face of the earth.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Renato, for sharing such insightful perspectives today. So it's clear that the translation industry is at a fascinating crossroad with technology, AI, and innovation, creating both challenges and opportunities. I'm sure our audience will find your insights incredibly valuable. Before we wrap up, is there anything else you would like to add or highlight for our listeners?
Ursun, I think that these are exciting times for us to be around. Never in the history of humanity have we been so wealthy, so healthy, so safe, even though there are wars going, but they're not in the scale of wars that we had in the past. So technology is thriving and knowledge is growing. I would encourage all your listeners and all my friends to take a look at the privilege that we have to be living at such an amazing and enlightening times, and protect it, right? Think about your future, think about your children. We're building a planet, an environment, a society that needs to continue. So I take a positive outlook on it, and I hope that your listeners do too.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Renato.